Hi guys, so today we're gonna discuss Marilyn Monroe everyday wardrobe. Marilyn Monroe, if you know my Kibbe series, is romantic by Kibbe. That means that she is very soft. On the soft and sharp scale, she's the softest. So she has a lot of roundness, softness about her. She looks shorter. Her arms and legs look slightly shorter. She has roundness on her cheeks. She has roundness of her shoulders, softness in her arms and legs. She has natural waist emphasis. She has bust and hips that is rounded. Her musculature is not defined. She doesn't have any sharp features about her. So basically most of everything that she has is pretty rounded. We're gonna check some of her outfits, what she was wearing during the day. So basically her wardrobe actually was very classic. She would never go for too crazy patterns, too crazy colors, and she would never experiment too much. Her hair was different every time, like all of us. Even though she became blonde pretty early in her career. She started with honey blonde because her hair first was kind of light brown to chestnut color, or some say dark ashy blonde. First she became honey blonde, they made it slightly lighter, and then from time to time she would go for more yellow or more platinum blonde. Especially in the 60s, just before her death, she was very white. She had very white hair. Sometimes even she said that, oh, it's just almost white. It's almost like I have gray hair. She hated her roots, so she would cover her roots every 2 weeks. Sometimes her hair was longer, sometimes shorter. Sometimes it was more straight, sometimes it was more curly. And of course the color of her skin was changing, even though she didn't like to go under the sun too much because she didn't want her pigmentation. She had some pigmentation on her body, and at those years that pigmentation was a no-no. She was using special creams, I think. She was hiding herself from the sun. Sometimes she was paler, sometimes she was more tan. And of course, when you're paler, when you're tan, the color of your blonde hair is always changing so much, right? So if you're more tan, your hair normally looks much more platinum and white, rather than if you're not tan, then your hair looks more honey, more dull, more dark yellow color. So sometimes that happened too. She would take care of her skin a lot. You can see her face is always glowing a lot. It's very almost greasy, right? So she would use a lot of Vaseline. She would use cream with some foundation in it. It's kind of like a BB cream for every day. Her brows were hairy. She would define her brows and then she would do her lashes. For the day, she would use brown pencil, brown eyeliner, coffee color. And then for the lips, during the day, she normally would wear something more pink or orange. She would rarely wear pure red or very bright red for the day, unless it's just a red carpet or going out somewhere. So her personal wardrobe, her dresses were more like pencil dresses with pencil skirts, pretty simple and straight, and it had waist emphasis. I could rarely see her without any waist emphasis, which is amazing for romantics. Just for comparison, Jacqueline Kennedy, she lived approximately the same time, and then she's a dramatic classic by Kibbe, and she not always had this waist emphasis at that time, so she would go sometimes for straight silhouettes. So that is the difference. Of course, Marilyn, in different periods of her life, she would gain weight or lose weight. When she was wearing skirts, it was mostly pencil skirts. I could hardly see her in long skirts. Sometimes for different photo sessions, of course, she would go for more interesting combinations of clothes. She would go for gypsy style, which I rarely could see her actually in that more natural gypsy and more hippie style. I would rarely see her in that, but then for some photo sessions she would go for that. Or I don't know, that light dress out of town, remember that village kind of very natural and light dress? Very beautiful, and her very gentle, very thin and gentle fabric that is going around her curves. If we talk about pants, most of her pants were shortened at the ankle, which looks amazing on romantics. Some pants were straight. I never could see her with flared jeans or with too wide jeans, except for maybe those 2 occasions, but both of them were for the movies. That looks great on her too. And then thinner waist on jeans also looked amazing on her. Sometimes she would combine shortened pants with blouse. All these blouses were very actually simple, not too many ruffles or too much drapes. Basically, most of her blouses were very classic, very simple and same color. She had same dresses and same tops in different colors. So she just probably liked how it sit on her body, and she just bought all the colors. It was orange color, it was pink color, it was mint green color, and I think it was blue color as well. She would wear furs. Furs was an amazing attribute. Underwear, she would wear pointed bra, so that would look like she doesn't have anything underneath. That was actually pretty popular in the 50s. She would wear stockings, and normally at that time stockings were with that line on the back. Shoes, she had normally Ferragamo shoes she loved. She had many high heel shoes, but I bet that they were pretty comfortable at that time. Remember, women would just go in heels all the time. They would go to the shop in high heels. Blazers, well, she would wear blazers that would be shortened, sometimes rounded, sometimes with furs and with waist emphasis. I didn't see her actually in blazers that would be straight, oversized, and hiding the waist. I didn't see that. All her blazers were sitting very well on her waist. She could have the classic 50s cardigans, remember? Then this beautiful woolen cardigan that she had photo session in. I adore this personally. And again, her cardigans or sweaters, they were not super oversized. Sometimes she would have elongated sweaters, but normally they would actually be pretty soft and they would hug her body, as opposed to make her bulky and very oversized and widen her. They didn't widen her. Especially if you remember this sweater that she was wearing in Let's Make Love movie with Eve Montan. So she was singing My Heart Belongs to Daddy in this blue sweater. I love this sweater very much, but you can see it's elongated, but it still goes around her figure, so you don't perceive it as something bulky on her. If we talk about different patterns, sometimes she would go for stripes, and you might say, yeah, stripes, too harsh geometry for romantics. And yes, that's true, but you know, it's very important what you combine in it with, and what silhouette is this and what fabric is this. If you're wearing stripy top or stripy dress and then you have waist emphasis, for example, that already is hugging your body in a certain way, so it's not looking harsh on you. And if she would wear stiff, sharp, elongated blazer that would close her waist and having that huge and very sharp long stripes, that would work as a contrast. That would be too harsh for her. She would need something more gentle. But once it's petite, it looks petite, it holds her body, so I think that looks amazing. She'll still look like a candy. She had different bags, small bags, rounded bags, beautiful different clutches, fur, sparkly, suitcases. It's interesting, but coats at that time were straight and oversized, and she was wearing that straight and oversized coat. So it probably was the only one clothes that would be oversized and straight without any waist emphasis. Yeah, and also they were like bell-shaped, remember? Like a trapeze a little bit. But at the same time, she didn't have everything else bulky, so that helped. Her wrists were naked, her ankles were naked, she would have pointed shoes. All that made the ends of her body so delicate, so that coat was not making her overly heavy. Also, she would have these kind of scarves. She also had turtlenecks. Turtlenecks is a very classic piece as well. I rarely could see her in jewelry. So if she was wearing jewelry during the day, she didn't have much, and her jewelry was very simple, nothing too ornate, nothing too over the top. Of course, if she was going out and she was on the red carpet, she would probably, I don't know, rent, or somebody would just give it to her to wear. But just in general, she didn't have much. She had that pearls, for example. So we can see that she really knew what fitted her body at that time. So she was born in the right time, because this particular body was on trend in the 50s. And then those curves, she could find clothes, first of all, for her particular body. In different interviews, she would say like that she likes men, she enjoys being a woman. About her body, she would say things like that there are like high fashion magazines, they were called voguish figure, boyish type figure. And she used to say, I don't have a boyish figure. So she was wearing for her own figure. And then she said, I believe your body should make your clothes look good. Body make clothes look good. And she was thinking that pleasing a man is very natural. So she was dressed for men. And she said men like simplicity in clothes. So she was going for simple clothes just to show her curves. She said that I like blue jeans, slacks, and suits. You can be feminine even in jeans. Her basic wardrobe was effortlessly chic. Even though she was going for very classic shapes, classic colors for her wardrobe, we can even say very close to Grace Kelly's wardrobe. But for these two ladies, that looked different, because Marilyn was more lush, and Grace Kelly, she's classic, so she was more moderate in everything. So she wasn't as lush, as soft, as prominent in some parts of her body. So same clothes looked a little bit different on her. The best points for for Marilyn. That was the waist emphasis, and then she was just actually dressed up in something not very bulky, oversized, and not too geometric and too sharp. Basically, everything was just hugging her body, and she was embracing this and she was enjoying this. I actually wanted to prepare this video for our birthday. My birthday and Marilyn Monroe's birthday is the same day. Some things happened that just didn't let me do this, so I'm doing this now a little bit late. But even though I just love Marilyn Monroe so much, so in my childhood I had a huge collection of her stuff about her, and I even didn't know that we were born on the same day. Only later, like many years later, when I found somewhere in Russia, I wanted to find a book, the biography of her, and I couldn't find it, something that would be translated into Russian. And then when I found it several years after I made a huge collection of her, I'm like reading and I can't believe my eyes, like she was born 1st of June. That was a miracle. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching, guys, and you can check this video about Marilyn Monroe look, where I'm opening some things that not everybody knows. Subscribe on my Patreon, I'm gonna leave the link down below, or press the button join here to be my sponsor. It's gonna help me so much to continue videos from my channel. Also subscribe and press the bell button not to miss new videos. Thank you and bye-bye.